Well, would you look at that? Sunshine. Can you believe it? We were warned by several others, as well as our weather apps, that rain was inbound. With that knowledge, we said full send anyways, and made tracks in the direction of the Kenai Peninsula. When there's sun in the sky, you've got to make the best of it. The mountains in this region of Alaska are outstanding, and the glaciers absolutely legendary. So we're on our way to hike up to the Harding Icefield and exit Glacier in the Kenai Fjords National Park. Arriving at the park entrance a lot later in the day than we likely should have, it was quite apparent that with the bright and warm sunshine, so too had come many other people. What could have been a leisurely hike turned into a hustle up the mountain as each person that we saw ahead of us turned into the next person we had to pass.
I also want to fly one of those.
Needless to say, we made it to the top promptly. What we found at the top was not what I expected. A sheet of ice hundreds of feet thick, draped over mountain tops with only their peaks poking through. That's a lot of ice. A quick descent and short drive later, we had arrived at camp for the night. Silence. Have you ever witnessed something so rare? No, really. Think about it. Can you hear cars outside? Other people? A jet overhead? Birds chirping? Complete silence is actually so incredibly rare. Even what you're witnessing right now isn't even completely silent. Think about this the next time you notice the deafening silence of a grand setting, and savor it while you can.
Put on some shoes that I can actually run in.
No, not towards me!
What?
No splashing! You want me
Come on, get warm. Stop laughing.
The next day, after a rainy few hours of driving, we found the coast while searching for camp. If you've been following us for a while, you'll be familiar with our Baja travels. We don't really shy away from deep sand and have been known to refer to airing down our tires as putting the van in four-wheel drive. This beach with its deep rocks stopped us in our tracks. So, here we are, testing out the van on new terrain. And once again, it would appear that simply airing down your tires and getting a little momentum is one of the very best tricks to getting through soft terrain.
Well, this stuff is definitely not sand. It certainly fights you a heck of a lot more than sand does, but we managed to make it. Yet another iOverlander spot that required 4x4 to get to, and challenge accepted.
We've had issues with our electrical system ever since we left on this leg of the trip. With this lingering issue, I often find it hard to focus elsewhere. My mind is easily consumed by thought about how I can fix a problem I can't even find. It loops all day and puts me in a sour mood, and ultimately takes away from my enjoyment of what we're out here doing. This right here, what you are looking at is how I bring myself back. The outside world in all its grandiosity and minutiae is such a splendidly intricate thing to behold, and it is what we are out here to explore. I have found that if I take myself out of the world and live in my head, I am not accomplishing what I have set out to do. I'm not reaching my goal of being closer to the big spaces, the open spaces, and the myriad intricacies of the living world.
Well, we just went to go and start the van, and our battery's dead. And I have been kind of like looking at the starting battery as a possible problem for the charging issues that we've been having for a while. And so maybe this is the sign that we're getting from the automotive universe that our starting battery is really dead. So I'm going to try something that I've wanted to try for a long time, which is actually jumping the van from our house battery. So let's see if it works. All right, let's see. Come on. What the heck? It's showing 12.7 volts. All right. 12.9 down there. I don't know if I'm being too... Nope. Okay, so I accidentally maybe had just tried it and it started. Yeah, I know, I'm a bad YouTuber. I was supposed to shoot that, but van started. Yay!
To AutoZone we go, to AutoZone we go, doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo, to AutoZone we go. It's good that we're close to one. Thanks, Alaska.
Okay, now we gotta get out of here. I don't know how these stones are going to go when they are soaking wet, because it's raining pretty hard right now.
Like they might get slippy.
Yeah,
Ooh.
they're pretty slippery already.
That'll be a fun morning.
Yeah.
Car doesn't start, can't get out of the camp spot.
Just another day living in a van that you drive.
Wouldn't it be cool if changing out the starting battery solved all our electrical issues?
Yes, that would be a dream come true, honestly, at this point. All right, we're gonna try and get out of here now. Sticker in first. Our tires are down at like 25 psi, so we float pretty good, but this stuff is deep. Here we go.
All right, now let's leave her running for our air up. We have arrived.
Well, we may have just figured out the issue, and the catalyst for figuring out the issue was actually Meg. She's like, well, did you check all your connections? And I'm like, yeah, I checked my connections. Turns out that the ground wire on the top of the battery, the butterfly nut that I have on the top, it's tight. But the battery lead, or the cable lead that I have on here, is not tight. It is actually quite loose. So hopefully, by tightening this up really good, it will solve our kind of crummy charging issues that we've been having. Moral of the story is that to all those younger men out there, not that I'm particularly old, but when you're frustrated, listen to your lady, because she's often the voice of reason.
No dice.
Okay, everything I said was wrong.
Turns out I'm not a mechanic. That may have been the issue with the
Yeah,
DC-DC.
that may have accounted for our DC-DC charging issue, but this battery just might be tired. I don't know for sure. Well, we may have run it dry last night just by leaving the ignition on, and then like on the drive here, it just didn't charge quite enough. Or our alternators may be failing as well.
Way to lift with your legs, babe.
It's not the battery. Now that we suspect it's a starter, we're going to do one last test, and that's to hit it with a hammer. This is an actual test. Your mechanic will tell you, or ask you, have you hit your starter with a hammer yet? That's what it was.
Always check your connectors, folks.
Always check your connections. So I went to go start pulling off the starter, and I noticed that one of the connections on the terminals was like pretty loose. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's what it is. There you go. All that trouble for nothing.
Turns out I am a mechanic.
Do you guys see it? Does everyone see the ocean?
Alright, let's see when her rear end starts bouncing here.
Okay, we'll find out pretty quick, I'm sure. Yeah, pretty quick.
Alright, you can do it, big girl. Should we just go right here?
Parking up on this beach with its gloomy skies, sprinkling rain, and boisterous seagulls had us quickly feeling like we were back on the Oregon coast. We stayed here for just a night before continuing further west.
Show me your breakfast. Show it to me.
Breakfast. It's a chunky monkey bowl.
A chunky monkey bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice chunky monkey bowl. Very nice chunky monkey bowl.
Very nice.
Very nice. Much success. Excellent nutrition.
It's
Oh my word! Look at those big mama jambas. They're huge.
Over the following 2 days, we traveled to the end of the road at Homer, explored there a little, took care of some errands, but mostly just stayed out of the rain. We went to a brewery that allowed us to use one of their receptacles to charge our batteries while we sipped our beers very slowly. The rain didn't really stop the entire time. Sometimes this kind of thing happens. Because we move around as much as we do, right now not entirely by choice, we don't allow ourselves enough time to wait out bad weather. The reality of travel is that there will be bad weather days. You just have to roll with it. So I'll admit to you right now that we don't do very well in the rain. It absolutely poured rain all day yesterday, from the start of our drive all the way until we got here. So we pretty much just kind of drove around Homer a little bit, got some beers, got some food, and then came to find this spot. But I mean, at least we've got a really beautiful view. Rain is supposed to keep up, so I think we're just going to turn around. And yeah, the rain's really dampening our spirits, unfortunately. We just kind of suck at being wet, which is odd for being West Coasters. Of course, as soon as we began our ascent out of Homer, the sun started to penetrate the clouds, and the mountains emerged from their cloudy hiding places. We, on the other hand, drove straight back into the rain. Luckily, we had something to look forward to. Our friends Andrea and Christian of Flurry Adventures were parked at a lake not far off our path, and we diverted to go spend an evening with them before continuing north. I mentioned before how the people you meet at the north end of the Pan American Highway will be the people you wind up leapfrogging all the way down to South America. This right here is a prime example of that, and we couldn't have chosen a better couple to play leapfrog with. Meg and I love each other very much, and we do quite well in each other's company, but it's nice to have guy time and girl time respectively. As you can see, Christian and I are two guys that need to horse around from time to time.
We're doing some soup later, so we need water.
The evening went on. We enjoyed food and conversation together and watched as the world went slowly by and night eventually settled on our little hideaway in the woods. The following morning, there was sunshine on the ground, light peeking through the leaves, and wind tousling our hair. We enjoyed breakfast with our friends in the warm sunlight, then bid them farewell, our paths only crossing for an evening as we go in opposite directions. With sunshine beaming down from the sky, it means it's time to climb closer to it. There's a hike to be done on our route towards Anchorage, so let's get to stepping.
I think it's gonna be a knee knacker 5,000.
5,000?
Yeah.
I can probably deal with a knee knacker 5,000 today. My knees feel pretty good, so.
We're doing Slaughter Ridge, everybody. Short arm.
Ridge! Yeah, Slaughter Ridge!
We got probably like 8.5 kilometers and 850 meters gained. Alex's old man knees might die on the way down.
What do you think? Slaughter Ridge up there?
I think it might be over there.
Are we gonna die?
Yeah.
We're gonna get totally slaughtered.
Yeah.
over here. Well, that's Slaughter Ridge. Do we feel slaughtered?
Slightly.
Mildly slaughtered. But now it's time for the Neenacker 5000. 5,000! That'd be like 10,000. 5,000! Oh, hey. Look at this. Someone left their camera here on the ground. Isn't that wild?
Another hour of driving and we had arrived yet again at another camp spot. We found it difficult to find secluded places here on the Kenai Peninsula. With the influx of summer tourist traffic and people here to fish, vacant overnight camp spots are virtually non-existent.
Looks pretty good.
Due to not really being able to find vacant camp spots, we wound up parking dangerously close to the tide line overlooking the Turnagain Arm. Tide charts showed a 33-foot or 10-meter tide, with high tide being at 11:30 p.m. We watched nervously as the fastest tide we'd ever seen rushed up towards the van. Luckily, it stopped about 3 feet from our tires, leaving us safe and sound and able to sleep. From here, we're heading inland towards Denali to see some more of our road family, after which we'll drive the Denali Highway back towards the Canadian border, which will mark the end of our time here in Alaska. We both want to say thank you to each and every one of you who choose every week to sit down and travel with us for a sliver of time. If you're new here, welcome. We hope you choose to stay. And most of all, we hope we have inspired and encouraged you to get outside and to make your own lasting memories. Thank you for being here, and until the next one, keep on roaming.